Good morning, welcome to another video. Hope you're well. As you can probably see behind me, down the Avon. Now I've come out this morning just for a couple of hours because it's supposed to start raining early afternoon. It's about 10 o'clock now in the morning. And I've come out purely because the river is in such wonderful condition. It's a lovely colour. I don't know if it'll come out on the video. It's a sort of greyish green colour. It normally fishes quite well in these conditions. Now, as you can see, I've got my waders on. I've come down to a swim I fished in the summer, I think quite early on in the season. And it was all full of streamer weed, and it was the right game. I had a couple of little chublets out of here, and that was it. But it did look a nice swim. I've also heard it's been doing okay in matches as well. So I've come to have a go this morning. Don the wader so we can get out in the water and just run the float down. Another reason I've come down here as well is because there's an easterly blowing. It's second storm of the season. I can't remember what they've called it, Brenda or something. And as an easterly blowing, it's quite chilly, and I thought perhaps we'd be a little bit sheltered here. Plus we were forecasting an overcast day as well. We are a little bit sheltered. It's not too bad. But I'm well wrapped up, as you can see, because yeah, it's a bit bitey. It's about 10 degrees, but the wind is very bitey. So what we're going to do is a little bit of float fishing this morning. I'll just grab the gear and run you through it. So gear-wise, I've got my my trusty damp CFM, which I used a few videos ago. Started making a bit of noise, got a bit of water in it, so I've cleaned it out, greased it up. So hopefully it'll be nice and quiet now. It seems quiet at the moment. And I've coupled that with Dower Matchman pellet waggler 13-foot rod. Now I've got this to do some sort of fishing for chub on the waggler. That's the idea of it. It's 13 foot, it's got a nice tip on it, it's fairly sensitive, but also there's a bit of backbone as well, you know, it's for fishing for carp really, on a pellet waggler. So I'm going to give that a go today, and I've got this as well because end of next week I'm off to Falmouth with the family for a week, and I thought this would be fantastic to chuck in the car because it collapses down, because it's 3-piece, it collapses down quite small. Can chuck this in the car, take it, do a bit of mullet fishing while we're there. That's the plan. Well, that's for next week. For now, let's get cracking. I'll stick the info on all this gear I've got down in the description so you can go and have a look. But suffice to say, I've got a 5 AAA number 2 Specie Wag from Dave Harrell on there. And we're going to fish over there towards that overhanging willow. I've got some mash bread with me, and I've got some maggots. Easy as that. Right, we haven't got too long, so let's get cracking. So we're going to start off on maggots. See what we can catch. I'm going to fish on the drop. I've got this this float cocked with a couple of olivettes. And then I've got 3 number 6s just running down the line. We'll start off fairly shallow. It's not particularly deep in here. Perhaps 5 foot, something like that. I know from experience. Perhaps we will go just a little bit deeper. We're only about 2.5 foot there. We'll deepen that up. We'll go perhaps 3.5. Something like that. We may get the chub to come up in the water. Chub targets today, but I don't mind catching some nice roach, perch, whatever really. Not a problem. It's going to be a bit tricky in this wind, but it's narrowish bit of river down here, so it shouldn't be too bad. But you know, we'll give it an hour. Not lost anything if we don't catch, and hopefully we will. That's going to be the order of the day today. Feed, cast. Now the water temperature, interestingly, has had a massive hit. We've had this cold weather. It's had a massive hit. Last time I did it, which was the last video, which was less than a week ago, it was 16 degrees. Today it is 11.5. So yeah, a massive hit. But not really surprising. We had frost a couple of nights here, scraping the car in the morning. What I'm trying to do is get these maggots to not to go under the tree, but just to sort of skirt the tree, because we don't want to let the chub be able to stay under that tree. We want them to come out to get the maggots, but with probably a foot or so, perhaps 18 inches, 2 foot of visibility, we can't expect them to be able to see them unless we put them relatively close to the tree, assuming there's some chub hanging about under there. Strangely, we've not had a single bite yet. Maybe that these fish have not quite... Alright, that's a bite. There we go. What's this? Feels like a chublet. The reel's still a bit noisy. Well, this rod's nice. Chublet or dace? Chublet. Cracking. Well, hopefully his big brother will want to come out to play. Well, roach and chub so far. Quite a long way down the swim as well, strangely. Thought we'll be getting these much further up the swim. Keep working it, see if we can get them up in the water perhaps. Yeah, we're getting some bites now. Rattly little bites. Yeah, we are quite sheltered down here. It's just nice. I thought we would be from an easterly. And you can see the silver water down there. We've got this bank of trees on the opposite side, giving us some relative shelter from the wind here. I did think perhaps this morning about going up one of the tributaries, but just going to be so windy. It's nice down. It's quite a narrow stretch of river. It's nice down here. Quite intimate. Got the feel of a small river. Do like it down here. Alright. Well, that's a bit further up the swim. What's this? Dace. 3 fish, 3 species. Cracking. Well, this is great stuff. I should perhaps be putting these in the keep net, but I'm not going to get the net out unless we get some decent. So, I'm not planning on going on the Rove today. We'll stick it out in here. A lot of the river's going to be far too windy, really. Well, it is literally a bite of chuck. I think I'm probably going to need to put the keep net in, because we keep putting all these fish back. We are going to spook them. It was just the odd 1 or 2. I thought perhaps we'd be all right, but I'm catching a fish about every minute at the moment. We'll get the keep net in. Float is bouncing away. It might be a case of getting on the bread in a minute. There's certainly lots of fish about. Dace, roach and chublets. Well, if I catch a fish like this, I think I need to change my float. Clearly a huge shoal of silvers down there. Be a nice little recce session, if nothing else. I'd fancy having a go at this since, as I say, I fished it. I think it must have been in the summer because there's loads of streamer weed. It feels like longer ago than that. Ooh. I think I came for a bit of a rove. God, this water is cold. It's almost we've gone straight from summer fishing to winter fishing. Not quite, but it's kind of what it feels like. This sudden cold snap. It's going cold again at the end of the week. Well, it is a fish, a chuck. Chub, roach and dace at the moment. Nothing over about 3 ounces. We'll give this at least an hour, I think, on the maggot. And then we'll go on bread if we're not doing any good as far as big fish go. See if we can target something a bit bigger. They're quite wily, aren't they, chub? It wouldn't surprise me if they're not down there hoovering all these maggots up and they know which one's got the hook in it. That would not surprise me at all. But when you're fishing bread, of course, it can bury the hook in the bread. And there's no way they can see it. Yeah, a proper bite. I mean, I've got this specie wag on. It's the smaller of the specie wags, the number 2. Even so, that was a lovely bite. Proper big fish bite. We'll keep oofing these maggots in. They do seem to be up for it. I've had a few days to acclimatise really for this from this cold weather. The drop in temperature. It may be perhaps that the big ones haven't quite adjusted yet. But we'll find out. At least you had a go here anyway, and we can always come out again. We can always come out again later in the week. I think Friday's looking like a decent day. I think tomorrow's going to be very windy. But I can't believe for a minute there's not some chub under that tree. Decent sized chub, I'm talking. I had a couple of decent ones out last year from a little bit further upstream, only maybe 30, 40 metres upstream. And it's possible that I drew them up from this cover. Well, I'm getting so many bites now that the float's not actually running further down than that tree before I'm getting a fish. Oh, or a bite like that. Trying all different maggot colours as well. I've got sort of mostly reds with some whites and bronzes in. When I buy my maggots, I tend to buy 2 pints of reds and a pint of mixed. So it's mostly reds, but it just gives you that option. Right, it's been about 20 minutes. We've not had anything of any size yet. Perhaps go a little bit deeper. Don't seem to be dragging bottom. Just have a little change up, see if that makes any difference. I've tried double and single maggot, and it's not made any difference. Different colours made no difference. Well, this is great fun, I have to say. No monsters, no leviathans as of yet, but it's certainly very enjoyable. What's this? It's putting up a better fight. It's not fighting hard, but oh, nice roach, look at that. Beautiful. Well, we're putting a fish in the net pretty much every cast. They're all much of a muchness, about 3 ounces, 2 or 3 ounces. How long can the big chub resist free food? There we go. Finally. I was just going to say, the bites have dried up. Perhaps there's some bigger ones about. Got him, mate. Yeah, I was just about to say. Well, the bites have stopped, and that's because there's a bigger fish. Oh, fantastic. No monster. Trying to use the keep net in my legs. Oh, he's a nice one. Did wonder if we're going to need the landing net today. We've been at it quite a while now. He's not done yet. Oh, blimey. Cracking. Well, how's about that? Wonderful. Cracking stuff. Hopefully we can have a few more. Thought there must be some down there. Just been playing hardball. Hopefully if we've got him interested in some food, fingers crossed, might be a few more. Might take a while though. He was desperate to get back under there. He caught me unawares a little bit. So I should think we've probably been fishing. Feels like about 3/4 of an hour, so it's probably more like an hour. Finally, a bite, single maggot. Single red maggot hooked across the middle. Just next to that tree, as you'd expect, really. Yes, as I was saying with that, or I was just about to say, we had that chub, just the bites had dried up. Just all the little dippy, little plucky bites that I was getting, it all stopped, and I just thought, yeah, there's something bigger going on here. This looks like a better roach as well. No monster, but certainly one you'd rather catch than not. It's cracking. Look at that. No perch yet today. There's plenty of perch down on this stretch. But nothing yet today. A little bit surprised about. Blimey. Mag's been absolutely destroyed. Well, I nearly used up all my very old maggots. I've got some more. But, I wanted to use these old ones up first. Perfectly fine. But, find they just slowly shrink as I spend time in the fridge. Obviously because they're not eating. That looked like a better bite. Oh no! Really was a lovely bite, that was. Just sailed away. The beast of the chublets, I think, so far. All the way through without a bite. Have we got the chub back out again? It's been a good 20 minutes, I think, since we had that last chub. Decent one. What is off smaller fish have certainly tailed off. But I think that's because I'm oiking plenty of bait in. It's kind of the idea, really, was to make sure there was enough left that the big chub would get some, and would get tempted to come out from under that tree. And it seems to have worked. To an extent, anyway. It's a bit of a recce session, this, really. As I say, I only fished here once before for about, I don't know, 15 minutes. I had to stand on the bank because I didn't have my waders. I had a little go, I had a couple of chublets, lost one. There's loads of stream of weed through here. It was quite awkward to fish, so I moved on fairly quickly, but it did look a good peg. I've got to feed. And as I say, caught two nice chub from further upstream, about 30 metres upstream. I was running the float quite a long way down. That would have been last autumn, winter. So clearly some chub about, but you know, it's the Avon. There's chub everywhere. If I was trying to maximise my catch today, I certainly wouldn't be feeding as heavy as I am at the moment. So a couple of runs through now with nothing, not a nibble, which is quite strange today. So we'll perhaps ease off a little bit. Oh, that was a bit too far. There we go. You know, I'd be obviously fishing a lot more delicate than this as well if I was wanting to catch everything. Have a much more sensitive float on, that's for sure. Oh, cracking. Yes, it's gone very quiet now. Right, we'll ease up. We'll keep feeding as frequently. We'll just put about half the amount of maggots in that we were putting in. Yeah, the bite rate's certainly gone up again. Just easing off that feed. Amazing how much difference it makes. It's a tiny little change. I think we'll get rid of these maggots. I've got a handful left now. And then we'll try some bread, I think. Just see if we can garner a bit more interest off the bigger chub with some bread. Mashed bread and bread on the hook. It's been tricky, the swims I've been fishing recently. We've not been able to throw it out far enough. I certainly can here. In fact, it's so close while I'm fishing here, I'm struggling to catapult the maggots close enough. I can almost throw them. To be honest, if it wasn't windy, I would. I just think perhaps we'll get the attention of the chub a bit better with some bread. Because these maggots are just lots and lots of smaller fish. It's not a problem, you know, we're getting some bites, it's great. Fancied giving this rod a bit of a workout. I've only done it once so far. Oh, this feels better fish. Just trudged out into the river. A strange fight. It's not really doing anything. It's plodding. What is it? What is a chub? Well, they're still there, clearly. It's no monster. But, certainly net him. Cracking. Great stuff. Well, it's been a while since we had that other slightly bigger one. And strangely, he's not got any maggots in his mouth at all. Careful. Yeah, that's a bit strange. You'd think he'd be stuffed to the gills with maggots, but not so. It was quite high up at the swim as well, that one. Well, I'm just using up these old maggots before I switch over to bread. And yeah, that was quite unexpected, actually. Funny old fight as well. Well, it's just thoroughly enjoyable, I have to say. Fortunately, I put enough clothes on. I was a bit worried I'd put too many on, to be honest. When I walked down here, it was really hot, but certainly not hot stood in this water. Another nice bite, that was. That should stay on maggots. Now we've got some mashed bread to use up. I dug it out of the freezer from leftovers from a previous trip, so I'm not going to refreeze it again. So we've got some bread for the hook and a bag with some mashed bread in it. But it's starting to rain, as you can probably see. I really don't fancy a soaking, but we'll have a go. It doesn't look particularly rainy, the sky, but clearly it is. We'll certainly have a little go on the bread before we get too wet. All I've done is simply change the hook link to a much bigger hook. I'm on the size 10 now. Now we can hide it. We're targeting the bigger fish. We'll keep this bread mash going in. Well, this rain certainly seems to be setting now. So I think we'll give in to the weather. That was the whole point of coming out early. Because the Met Office actually got the weather forecast right. Fair play to them. Right, that's enough of that. It's definitely enough of that. We'll have a quick look at what we caught, and then we'll get off, I think. Well, I'd definitely call that a success. Swim I've not really fished before, aside from about 10 minutes in the summer. We've had a nice catch, I think, this morning. Can't complain about that at all. Absolutely fantastic. There's a couple of bonus fish in there. Cracking. Right, let's get them back. Always very lively if they've been in a keep net. That's the one. I'm sure there's a few more of them in there. Definitely. Right. Let's get these little fellas back. That's not been bad for a couple of hours. thoroughly enjoyed that, and it's been nice and productive. Although, as I say, the big fish, I'm sure they're not really on it at the moment. You can just tell. Right, check the stragglers. Well, that's been very enjoyable this morning. Killed a few birds with one stone. We've had to go with a new rod and bedded that in. I now know that my reel is still making a lot of noise, so we'll have to sort that out. We used some maggots up and used a bit of mashed bread up as well, but yeah, I definitely think this swimmer's got more to give, certainly. Now, as I mentioned, this weather is on the way later on today, tonight, tomorrow. So I think Friday is supposed to have eased off, so we'll perhaps try and get out Friday. Who knows what we'll be doing though? It just depends how much the rivers come up. Maybe time to get up the tributaries on Friday. We'll just have to suck it and see what the levels are like. But I think for standing around in a river, in the rain and the wind, I've had enough now. I'm going home. So all that's left to do is say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling when you get out there. Many thanks to the channel patrons for your wonderful support. And I'll see you again when it's a little bit drier.